Oh. Hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome again to our backyard, and welcome back to part 2 of our DOTS lockdown project. Today, we're going to put all of our planning together and bring our project to fruition. In the last episode, we went over our constraints and resources, the L mapping that we'll be using, and the octo settings we'll be employing. We've also covered the physical layout we'd like to try and achieve with our dots. In today's episode, we'll be laying out our power supplies and our controller, as well as mounting our dots to the fence here. We'll be discussing the installation techniques that we're employing so that you can try and get an idea of how we achieve the result that we achieve. But before we start anything, we need to prune up some of the vines and hedging here to really make our dots shine. Now, depending on your installation space, you may not need to complete this step, but one way or another, you will need to clean and prep the area or mounting surface that you're using. Whether it's plywood sheet, a piece of plate aluminium or steel, or masonry on the side of a building, good prep will lead to a good outcome. For us, we want to make sure our backyard is as uncluttered and uniform as reasonably possible, and not just around the place we want to mount. This installation is about drawing more attention to this green space. We want to make sure that the rest of the backdrop is pleasing to the eye. Okay, so we've finished up all the weeding and the pruning here. This is the blank canvas now, so to speak. The next thing that we want to do is we want to start running our 240 volts and our data from the house. So we have enough power and data to run everything from the house back here. So we're not really restricted too much in where we place the dots along in this regard. What we do need to keep an eye out for is the length of our lead-in cables. We only have short lead-in cables, so we will be restricted in some regard to how far off the ground we can mount our dots onto our fence. So what we're doing now is making that check. We've plugged a lead-in cable to the top of the dots, and I've got my mate right here holding them up so we can get a feel for the distance between the ground and the bottom of the string. So we've picked up some of this collapsible bamboo lattice from our local hardware store, along with some of these bamboo canes used for garden stakes. This, combined with, well, obviously a healthy serving of zip ties, will allow us to mount up and set up the pattern of the dots, and then take this whole piece and strap it up to our wall. All right, so Ray and myself have got this first lattice together. It's looking really, really impressive. It holds itself up really nicely. We've gotten the tight staggered pattern pretty close to perfect, especially considering sort of the irregularities in using a natural material like bamboo. All we need to do is we'll just need to tuck these wires in and try and secure some of these bamboo ends. That's not going to be too difficult. And then we'll get this up on the wall and we'll see how it's all coming together. So now we're getting an idea of how this is all going to come together. We'll spend a little bit of time now getting it all straight. We'll mount the dots up to our second lattice, and then we'll set it all up, and it's time for some drinks and nibbles. If we wanted to make this entire system weatherproof like our dots, we could move over to an IPP link system with a Pixelator Mini wired all the way to the back of the house. We could then combine this with an IP67 rated DC power supply. We also can't forget our 240 volt supply. You'll need to find a way to keep the power connectors shielded from the elements. It may seem like a hassle to have to move our power supply and our controller out of the weather once we're done using the dots, but in actual fact, being able to keep our dots outside is the biggest win here. This part of the installation takes the longest period of time to set up. It also may come as a surprise to you, but just like our power supply and our controller, we would very much prefer not to be exposed to inclement weather. Okay, so our dots are now set up. It's worth noting now that unlike our dots, our power supplies, controllers and laptop aren't weather rated, so we'll need to bring them inside in the case of inclement weather. Sunny conditions aren't so much of a problem as long as we keep everything in the shade. Well, that's it for this video. We hope you enjoyed watching our first project with our new SPXL40 dots. Like, share and subscribe if you found this video useful. Comment down below if you've got any questions or you think there's something we missed. Don't forget to check out our social media pages and stay tuned for more dots and more helpful ENTTEC tips.